A bigger example now. You know, if you've been following the news, some of you might have heard of this one. It's called Obamacare. You been keeping up? Okay. Look, I know it's not fully socialised healthcare yet. It's not single payer, but we all know where it's heading. You know, Nancy, Jan Schakowsky, Harry Reid, they've all said this is going to single payer. Right now, we know that. Now, single payer healthcare, I come from a country that's had it all my life. And I'll tell you what, folks, it sucks. Everything you've ever heard about it is true, but worse. It is bad, bad news. But I still get liberals who say to me, you know, like, oh, pre-existing conditions and, you know, uninsured. You know, this is fair. This is what they do in Europe. This is democracy in action. We can afford this, surely, you know. I say the word, and any time you talk with a socialist about this, bring up one word, and that is quality. Because they all assume quality remains the same. And is there any more important word than quality when it comes to your healthcare? Now, if you're in a free market healthcare system, and I know you don't have free market here, but at least you have strong elements of it, you are a customer. And you business people in the room, how do you treat your customers, folks? Like gold, right? They're your friends. You build relationships with them. You love them because they keep you in business. And if you're a doctor, you're a physician, your patient is your customer. And the longer their life is, and the happier and more productive it is, the more holidays they give you. Is that correct? You've got a very strong vested interest in keeping your people happy and healthy. But when the government pays all the bills, single payer, the budget is this big, but the needs are infinite. Health needs are infinite. So the budget's this big, the needs are infinite, what do you then become? You become a liability. You're a liability on that system. You business folk, how do you treat your liabilities? You eliminate them, right? You get rid of them. You want to stay in business. Keep the system afloat. You have to eliminate liabilities. You talk about death panels here like it's some big spectre. Death panels. There's going to be death panels under Obamacare. We don't even think in those terms in New Zealand. You think about it this way. You run an oncology ward, cancer ward in a hospital in New Zealand. You've got a budget of $5 million a year for chemotherapy, or whatever it is. You've got a 75-year-old guy in this bed with prostate cancer. You can give him $200,000 worth of chemo and keep him alive 2 or 3 more years. You've got a 7-year-old girl in this bed who's got leukemia. And you can give her $200,000 a year worth of treatment and keep her alive to marry and have kids and grow up. But you can only treat one of them, folks, because that's your budget. What are you going to do? What would any humane person do? Every doctor in a life or death situation becomes their own death panel. Because you've got a budget and you've got people you have to ration for or triage. We don't call it rationing in my country. We just know that if you're old and not paying taxes and you're a useless eater, you do not get the same level of treatment as someone who's young and productive. You just don't. How can it work any other way? It just doesn't, folks. That's how it works in Australia and Canada, which is why they all come down here. It's how it works in Europe. But the laws of economics are different here, right? It's different in America, right? That won't happen here, will it? No, it can't happen any other way. Now, the father of the single payer or socialised healthcare movement in this country is a retired Chicago physician named Quentin Young. Now the guy's pushing 90 now, and I, in my darker moments, often wish he'd gone to live in Canada 20 years ago, because he probably wouldn't be with us now. But he is. Now he has been pushing single payer for more than 50 years. He's the father of the movement. He set up Physicians for a National Health Plan, a whole bunch of other organisations. He's worked with the AMA, worked with Canadian doctors, and he's worked with the likes of John Conyers to get single payer legislation in front of your House of Representatives on many occasions. But they've always failed, always voted down. But in 2009, with the Affordable Health Care Act, they finally started to make progress. And it's not surprising that the progress came under Mr. Obama, because for many years in Chicago, Quentin Young was Mr. Obama's personal physician and friend and political mentor. Openly claims credit for indoctrinating Obama into socialised healthcare. Says Obama was a huge fan of single payer when he was an Illinois state senator and nobody paid attention to him. More than that, Quentin Young was a 40-year veteran of the Communist Party USA. In the early 70s, he and 3 other doctors went to North Vietnam to offer their services to Uncle Ho while they were killing your countrymen. That's how patriotic Quentin Young is. He joined Democratic Socialists of America in the early 80s, remains a member today, and I'm telling you, that is the organisation that has given you Obamacare. Democratic Socialists of America, 7,000 members, has been pushing this for 40 years now. It's their number one priority. I quote them in the literature. And now they're overjoyed that Obamacare is failing, as they predicted it would, because that's great, because now they're going to blame the greedy insurance companies and the doctors for the failure, and single payer comes next. That is a strategy. They have used their control of the AFL-CIO to promote this, and also their control of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which they set up. 80 members of your House of Representatives under DSA guidance. To prove a little point, just before the last election, the Obama campaign released a little video designed to mock Mitt Romney. The video said basically this: hey Mitt, guess what? You know how you hate Obamacare and you want to get rid of it? Well, we got a joke on you, Mitt. Because the man who designed Obamacare for us, John McDonough, he was the architect of it. This is what the video says. Massachusetts state legislator, Harvard academic. He's the man who designed Obamacare, Mitt. And guess what? He was also the man who designed Romneycare. So ha ha, Mitt. And it's true. McDonough did design both systems. Mitt Romney got a bill out of the Massachusetts state legislature, which is shot full of Democratic Socialists of America supporters, and he tried to modify it, push it back, and make it less socialist, but it passed, and he got his name stuck to it. What the video did not say was that John McDonough, for many years, was Boston chair of Democratic Socialists of America. A Marxist. A Marxist designed Obamacare. The same other members of that Marxist group promoted it through the AFL-CIO and the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and another member of that same group personally indoctrinated your president into it. 7,000 members, folks, and they're about to change your country forever. Socialise between 1/6 and 1/4 of your economy. And they cannot be allowed to do this, people. Must be fought every inch of the way forever.